by Light Girls, and we play by the game code.
Woo! And now we've got Mike on board to take a look at ZombiU, our first review for the Wii U.
Clutches. For God shows no mercy on those who heed not his words. Thus will the end come, and the world made unworthy in his eyes will be purified by black angels.
Like the intro says, there are many times that God will show no mercy. And what they might have meant is that there is no mercy for those who chose to be one of the first adopters and grab Nintendo's newest console, the Wii U. Now at the Game Code, we're pretty excited about what the promise of the Wii U has to bring. The idea of asymmetric gameplay, or having different information on different displays, opens up the potential for some very interesting and exciting gameplay and design. However, this idea is really not translated into too much when you look at the Wii U's launch catalog, as it's really just a slew of old games that have been ported over onto the new console. One of the few titles that did show a flicker of hope, however, came from Ubisoft in their launch title, ZombiU. While the idea of a zombie game is hardly new, what this title does do is try to bring innovative controls into the how long can you survive formula. The real question is though, should ZombiU be held up as one of the few possible triumphs in the Wii U's rather disappointing launch catalog?
Rule number 4, the infected have got no higher brain functions, but they can smell normal people coming. Be quiet, or they will find you.
Now, if you're looking for a zombie game with some story, you may want to go back to last week's episode and check out Ian's review on The Walking Dead. ZombiU is really about how long you can survive in a zombie apocalypse. The game starts you off in front of a subway station where you're called by a mysterious voice over the PA and led to a somewhat safe-ish area in London's underground. From here, you're given a backpack and a weapon and told everything you need to do in order to survive. And so you have it. You go out into the heart of the city armed with your cricket bat, the few items you found on your travels, and the need to survive. To accomplish this, the voice may direct you to raid a store or hack one of London's famous CCTV cameras in order to gain more intel, but all this is for naught if you don't do the central thing in this game: try to stay alive. Now, all of this should be okay. A zombie game where you're meant to feel scared and vulnerable makes perfect sense and harkens back to the early days of the Resident Evil series. However, in this game, you're truly a disposable hero, as when you die, that's it. You're done. But you come back as one of the seemingly infinite survivors that happens to be in this underground safe house. For a game that wants me to do my best to survive, it offers very little to motivate me to do so. And this also creates game-breaking plot holes, as when I return back to the safe house as one of my disposable personas, I'm treated to some snarky remark or nonsensical comment by this mysterious voice. To put it plainly, the whole story makes me not give a damn about anything that's going on in this world. Now, gameplay in ZombiU is what you would expect from a title of this nature. You spend most of your time navigating the streets of London, the underground, and yes, even Buckingham Palace on your quest to survive the horrors around you. From a visual perspective, this game is rife with muddy textures, a lot of clipping, and has a very claustrophobic feel to it. While tight areas are a standard in the survival horror genre, ZombiU is just too frustrating to navigate rather than creating any sort of tension in the environment. The audio in this game is also dreadful and very non-specific, which really breaks the immersion of anything that might be going on in front of you. And while the game does manage to make you jump every now and again, the suspense is truly fleeting.
If you're going to survive, lad, you need to learn the ropes, and fast. So I'm going to teach you.
It's going to be a common challenge on the Wii U to separate gameplay from the unique controls that the platform allows to provide a thoughtful review for the game at hand. However, it stands to note that this game ought to be commended for actually putting even the slightest amount of thought on how to utilize the Wii U's gamepad. During most of the gameplay, the gamepad serves as a map and inventory system, which is actually one of the most useful maps I've ever found in any video game. Now, this may be a result of the poor design I mentioned previously necessitating such a map, but it is very well integrated into the flow of the game. When looting the environment, your attention shifts to the gamepad to select items to move into your backpack without breaking what's going on in the world around you. This is actually well executed and helps increase the tension and forces you to be more aware of your surroundings. Your gamepad serves as a means to scan the environment to help identify for clues and other useful items, as well as serving as your aiming mechanism on certain weapons. Finally, some of the other events, such as opening certain doors and barricading yourself in, require input on the touchscreen. These may be the weakest of the elements for integrating the gamepad into the game. However, overall this is something that's fairly well done, especially when you consider the lack of support for this sort of thing on most other launch titles. ZombiU does have a multiplayer mode as well. Now it's limited to a local 2-player mode only, but it does make for great use of the gamepad. The mode is very much an arcade-style shooter, and the player on screen uses the standard Wii controller to fight the waves of zombies and secure key strategic points. The player using the gamepad strategically positions zombies and gains levels, allowing for more powerful and deadly zombies to be deployed. The game is fairly enjoyable, however has a very limited appeal and again, no online multiplayer. While I've spent a great deal of time on the shortcomings of ZombiU, I really wish I could be kinder to it. I wanted to have a lot of fun with this game, and while the idea may be a bit cliche, it seems to be a difficult thing to make a game about surviving a zombie apocalypse into a boring and frustrating affair. After speaking to some other people about this game, a friend of mine compared it to a launch title for the original Wii, Red Steel. Red Steel was an action shooter game, and while it was somewhat fun, ultimately it really just seemed like a much more hardcore tech demo than any sort of game, and that's exactly what ZombiU feels like too. It's definitely not a game that should push anyone to get a Wii U, and even if you already have one, the game is still a bit of a tough sell. It does serve as a solid starting point for the kinds of things that the Wii U can and should be capable of. Unfortunately, promising technical design does not make for a solid and enjoyable game.
And that'll do it for us today. Special thanks as always to John Painter for sharing his collection, and of course to Adam Perry for letting us hang out here. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. For throwing me unwillingly into the world of StarCraft, I have chosen. Good one, Steph. And this is something we first heard about on Kotaku. Kotaku? What the f?
When did Steph start referring to herself in the third person?
All day, every day.